It's time. Uh, Great. It's Wednesday. It's happening. It's Cafe Ride. We have two more left, which is crazy. This has been going on for a long time, and it's gone now into like winter, and I'm bundled up because it's Colorado. And our guest today will be joining us from Colorado. She is actually down in Denver, Golden, not too far from me, to actually ride together eventually at some point. So let's see if she's able to join. What are you wearing? I love it.
My Halloween onesie.
Oh my God, shut up. This is better than I had anticipated.
Okay, the horns up. That just looks ridiculous, but what's up?
Not a whole lot. How are you?
Doing great. Freezing, that's why I decided to wear this onesie today.
Dude, this is me. I'm like, I am fully in winter mode.
Hey,
And I'm pretty angry about it. I'm in denial is what's happening. But I'm glad that we get to chat, and hopefully we can like keep this on topic, because I know our conversations tend to being around and we don't have 3 hours to chat, although it would be fun. I have just questions, but this is all about you and your story and learning about, just being a beginner. I think that's something that's really difficult to do as an adult, because it's demoralizing, frustrating, and it's just a huge learning curve. So I'll let you kind of take it away. I would love, if you could just start off by telling us who you are and how you ended up in Colorado, and a little bit about your backstory.
sure. So thanks for having me also, and thanks for the plug. I love it. Um, so my name's Sofia. Bermudez. I live in Golden, Colorado. I've lived in Denver, like, Front Range area for the last 7 years. From Chicago, but many places like that. But I absolutely love it here. I had to be the Purple Closet ambassador this year, and enjoying the opportunity that I have to kind of like showcase what it's like beginner in mountain biking right now. I mean, I've kind of been my thing for the last, I don't know, 6 years since I moved here. I've really loved just getting to know how so many different activities I've never done before in my life. So it's kind of a little bit about me, a medical professional by trade. Um, so I work full time and just like to get outside whenever I can. And yeah, I'm no athlete or anything. Pretty cool.
Also, your connection or your audio keeps breaking up just a scotch.
Oh,
Um, but so if I look puzzled, it's not, I'm not confused. I'm just trying to piece together some stuff. But yeah, I mean, like, maybe, I mean, you said you're from all over the place. How did you end up in Colorado, and like, what was, I guess, like, I've always known you as someone who's just always like trying out new things, doing gravel stuff, then trying to get into fishing, and then, just like very, I guess it's like the very like Colorado idyllic hobby situation, but that's not always how things were for you, correct?
correct. Basically, a little bit about how I grew up. So my mom is from Puerto Rico, my dad's from Bolivia, and I was born in Indiana, so I guess I'm like first generation, if you will. And all around, this is like my seventh state. So my parents were a young kid, and just my mom kept moving around for jobs. So I'm kind of moving and always being inspired. Never really had to get to know who I was because I was never anywhere long enough to figure that out. So fast forward to my mid 20s, I was living in Chicago City, and I went on my first camping trip of my life when I was 23 years old, or
Man,
20.
that's so crazy. It's just, such a different I have like a totally opposite perspective because like my family stayed in one place forever, and like when I was like 4, we camped for like a month into like we drove from Pennsylvania to Montana, and I thought like that was just like totally normal. Is like 5 people sleeping in one tent.
So awesome. One whole month.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, we drove. God, I mean, that's like a whole nother topic. In like this, like one of the first minivans, it was like one of the Plymouth or like a Chrysler. I don't know. It was like some tiny little minivan. And it's my 3 sisters, my other 2 sisters, and my parents. God, being in a van for a month with your sisters and your family, now I'm like, I don't know if I can do it.
Were you again?
What'd you say?
How old were you?
I was like 5, maybe. It was.
I started remembering things as a young kid, so.
Yeah, it's crazy, but enough about me. So I guess like, how did you? It sounds like you didn't have like time to play, in sports like team sports and like kind of stick to that because you're moving so much. So when you came out to Colorado, how did you end up getting into all of this, outdoorsy stuff? Because like for me, I always got into it because of my friends, like, right? Like I got into cycling because I like met people that did it. And I was like, oh, like, I just want to like fit in, and like everyone's doing it. Like I should get a bike. So like, what did that progression look like for you?
I mean, you're right. I've played team sports one year of my life, so in high school. And it's because I tried out living with my dad for a year, and because he had support at home with a single parent, he was with a partner already. I was able to do that, so that was really fun. But again, it's just 1 year, and like I moved back with my mom, and that wasn't a possibility for me anymore. So I guess like how I got into the outdoor stuff was just that one camping trip. Honestly, it was I was living in Chicago. My friends were like, "Let's go camping," or Wisconsin. I kind of forget, but I didn't even have a sleeping bag or a tent. Buy all that, right? I had no idea what I was doing. I was mostly excited to pee outside. Like I had never, I don't know.
That is so funny. What a funny thing, because I feel like that's like people like don't like that. And meanwhile, like when I run in town in Fort Collins, I'm like, oh my God, where do I go to the bathroom? Like people will see, like I'm just so used to it, like on a trail. So I think that's
Low key, I love, don't arrest, I don't want to get arrested for that, but like I low key love peeing outside. So one thing I was excited about. And then, I was over that weekend, we went whitewater rafting, and I don't know, I was just never exposed to that. And so I got addicted, and I kept asking my friends, like subsequent weekends, like, let's go camping. I'll drive. I'm one of the few people in the car.
Yeah.
I'm offering us to go like upstate, and no one wanted to go. It's just not the life of Chicagoans.
Right.
So
Totally.
I felt really out of place for once in my life, and like I don't know, I just wasn't like fitting to the people that I've always fit in. It was my job, right?
Yeah.
But I no longer felt like myself there. So
you outgrew them.
yeah. So I moved to Colorado. The idea was planted in my head. I was dating someone at the time who I was supposed to follow to Colorado. We ended up breaking up, but that idea still like was bothering me every day. Like, what if I moved there?
Yeah.
I don't know, would I feel more like myself? And had no idea what I was getting myself in. But I quit my job, like quit my nursing job in the city in Chicago. And I took an extremely low paying job in the Rocky Mountains for a kids camp, like
oh my God,
for the whole summer. And I can't even tell you, Reese, like I think I lost money living there.
God, that's amazing.
But I was worried. I was like, what if I don't like the state? And yeah, I took a little bit of an extreme method to figure that, like living in a cabin in the woods and only being able to leave once a week to get older,
Ooh, that's rough.
one day off a week. So I
That's
took
rough.
a camp, like nursing job, and the camp is incredible. And I was so at Estes Park, like in the
Oh yeah.
mountain, for the whole summer. And I was like, I love this. Every day I would like leave my cabin, walk across and go to the mess hall and fill up my car and walk back over, and I would see the mummy range,
Oh
like
yeah.
things. And I don't know, I just like felt like, and so going back to Colorado is extreme, or I'm sorry, Chicago is extremely depressing. I need to move.
Yeah.
So I like, pen to paper, I'm like, I applied everywhere. I was like, I don't care where I work. I just want to
Yeah.
like, so I got a job pretty quickly, thankfully, like that. So I moved here, and the only person I knew was like my ex.
That sounds super healthy. Should we process that here or maybe offline? We'll pin
It's
we'll put a pin in that one.
yesterday, like we're still really good friends. Like
Good.
I love that relationship that we'll always have. Super friends, if you will. And so he like first 2 weeks that I moved here, he's like, okay, I'll help you out, and then we're gonna live. And I did. Never got back together or anything. So, but he was definitely helpful stepping stone. And so I moved here, and obviously I didn't really know anyone, so I just started hiking. I'm like, what is hiking? How
Yeah.
do I do it? He told me, okay, download all trails.
Yeah.
Everyone in Colorado was laughing at me. It's like, God, this girl. Um, Downloaded that app that helps figure out where the trails are, how
Yeah.
long they are. I had to learn how to pack for things, like
Yeah.
station, like learn my lesson, but it was all alone because I had no one to go with me.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. I think it takes a lot of motivation to do that. Like that means you like had a lot of you really enjoyed it because like for me, if you don't really like something, you generally have to like find someone else to go do it with. You have like a workout buddy if you don't like going to the gym or something like that, just to like keep each other accountable. But if you like really enjoy something, you're going to do it no matter what, even if it's alone. So that's like a really good testament to how much we're just like fully committed to doing these things, which I think is super exciting. And just, I think as adults, like it's hard to do that stuff. Like it's hard to just like, I don't know, be motivated to just do stuff alone for some reason.
And I think it was because I'd found comfort in it in a odd way, because part of being a beginner, which I wanted to touch on, is there's a certain amount of vulnerability that no matter who you are, if you're like 8 years old trying sports team, 30 trying to learn how to ski, or if you're 6 years old picking up bird watching, like there's a certain amount of vulnerability, like it's scary and it's somewhat embarrassing. Like if you
100%.
to show that you're the best at something or not good at it, especially in front of other people.
It's
So
yeah, it's like a total ego thing. For sure. Like you have to like get rid of having like an ego of like, oh, I need to be really good at this or whatever. I know like when I was out in Fruta riding with Tina Uli and learning how to mountain bike, there's like kids that are way better than me. There's like a 10-year-old and I'm
yeah,
comparing myself to this 10-year-old and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so bad. I'm like, it's so demoralizing when you like think everything is like apples to apples. And Tina, to her credit, was like, you don't know that kid. Like that kid could be riding for like the past like 5 years. Of course they're better than you. Like stop. And it's like you have to like retrain your brain to just like let go of what I like to call like fimage, which is fear of image.
I
It's so, yeah, it's hard to do. So I like totally applaud you for just like being like, fuck it, I'm a beginner, no big deal. I'm gonna embrace it.
so I
But it
just
makes
like
it
that
better.
and ran with it. I don't know. It's just there's so like as living in a state like this where there's so many different activities to pick up because of what we're by, and then everyone's so good at things. Like I'm
Yeah.
sure it's this, as well. And it's hard to not compare yourself to those people.
It's like we're in the Olympic Village when it comes to like athletics here. I'm like, Jesus Christ, everyone's an Olympian. This
Yeah,
isn't fair.
they've been riding bikes or climbing or skiing since like 5,
Yeah.
and here I am at like I don't know 20. When did I move here? Like 28, 29, 30. Like I taught myself how to ski 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and again, like so being I don't know. All my friends were like, "Oh my gosh, how like learning how to ski in your 30s?" I'm like, I don't know. This is, I'm just trying it. But so that fear definitely affects me. Like I definitely feel vulnerable. And no matter what activity I've tried, it's funny because I go at it alone for and because I don't I have something is like you should at least get somewhat decent before you see your friends see. So
Oh, totally. But do you find that you are better or worse? I guess like, do you find that there's a difference between when you're alone versus when you're with your friends? How you like speak to yourself or how you, I guess, like handle mistakes or something like that? Like, do you find that there's differences there?
oh, there's an absolute difference. Like anytime I ride bikes, even now, like it's been a few years since I've been doing it, but even like I always ride faster. Whenever I ski, I try riskier things when I'm with people, and I think it comes like half because people that are bad inherently push you to perhaps try different things that you didn't before, or like give you some sort of innate confidence. But also, it's the risk factor is lower because of someone else. So I've noticed that like whether it's maybe not fishing, but like skiing, mountain biking, things like that, like I will take more risks if I'm with people because that's smart, right?
Yeah.
And so it helps make it better, I guess. But there's still like a lot of the beginning of trying a new activity. I would say I go out and fail like in front of myself. I can talk myself up. I like no one's watching me. It's not like making me feel so it's kind of like this cool time I have myself to I guess learn how to speak to yourself positively, learn how to accept mistakes and failures. So I will kind of set that out when I'm first starting activity out
Yeah.
is I feel like A, it's really good for my own self growth, but B, I at least can get somewhat
Yeah.
confident so that when I go with friends, I just am in a better headspace.
Yeah. I, I think like the doing things alone is something that as a beginner, I definitely also do. Like, I remember when I was like learning ish how to do mountain bike stuff, I would only want to try like somewhat technical ish trails and like non peak hours when people weren't around. They wouldn't be on that trail. No one would see me. And I'm like, okay, someone's going to see you for like 4 seconds walking your bike. What? They don't care. Like, stop thinking that you matter to them. Like, but it's like a me thing that I'm just like, I need to get over this. I realize I'm being ridiculous, but like if I don't do it this way, I like won't continue. Um, so I guess like to that end, I mean, like, what do you do to, because I'm sure there's like a million different points where you're like, in any of your activities, right? Like fly fishing, skiing, riding, where you're like, this is stupid. This is too much work. I hate this. It's not even fun. I'm going to quit. Um, how do you not just give into that?
I think a big thing for me was like kind of documenting my progress and stuff. I mean, obviously, if I don't like something that bad, I won't do it.
Right.
But there's a lot of growing pains, right, when you're learning something new. So I think the big thing for me was like documenting, whether it's like recording your, whatever you do or however, whatever you're riding, like seeing how you progress over time. That's a good tool. Or like I was doing this more when I was learning, like, let's say gravel biking
Yeah.
or skiing. I would just talk to myself on Instagram, like with my posts, and kind of just like document what I was getting over, or my. And even though like it was for other people, a lot of it was for me. Like, so I could go back and wow, I was afraid death of this blue run at Winter Park called Bermudez.
Okay.
And people might, but it's one of the first blue runs, so intermediate, right?
Yep.
That opens up, but it's always icy.
Okay. This is like East Coast skiing. It's terrifying.
It was in, it was just, it's a terrible run. So, and people knew that. They were like, yeah, Larry Sale's icy. I'm like, I know. Because the first season, I would go out there by myself and like, I memorized all of the group that was open, all of it, every single square cubic inch. I like going out time and trying to get better. But that was my arch nemesis, was Larry Sale,
Okay.
trying to get down the fall. And so when I did, I obviously said it on Instagram. Can't believe I did this. Saying like, this is the first, I did it twice today without falling. And looking back at that now, it's hilarious. But it offers that perspective that sometimes you are quick to forget. Like if I'm hard on myself, like if I was hard on myself last time for falling run, it's cool to look back and see your progression.
Yeah.
So I really recommend just like documenting. Doesn't have to be on Instagram, but like journal or a little note on your phone or whatever it is, so you can see your growing pains progress, and that's what's addicting to me.
Yeah. Totally. I think like it's it's so funny. Like I had the same thing. There's like the super easy trail in Fort Collins, and there's like one rock feature that I like don't ride for no whatever reason. And after I did the Cocopelli, I like rode it, and I was like, why did I panic on this for years? I was like, this is literally nothing after what I just rode, and I was like so excited, and everyone else rides it and like doesn't even notice it's there, but I'm like, yes. But like, God, this is so amazing. I rode this rock that's not, like that you don't, no one else notices, but I notice. And it's, yeah, it's just so important to like celebrate your wins for sure, no matter how quote big they are. Because yeah, I think it does like keep you going. Otherwise, you're just going to be like on, at least for like me with mountain biking or something, you just like look at like Red Bull Rampage and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not there.
Or even people on Strava, like my friends, or even people on Strava. Like I have a lot of friends, thankfully, that I've made over the years, which you're in the same boat, that are like riders. Never in my life would I would have friends that do that. And it's so, because I'm like in constant communication, really hard to not get to me. Like, wow, they're better than me. And they can ride those features that like, it's hard for you, but they don't even think about it.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to like compare yourself to those people. And I'm the same for like whether you live in Washington, East Coast, like if you're rowing, beginning to row, I don't know, saying random stuff, but like across any, it's hard to not compare yourself to other people. So it's like cool to go alone, within your comfort zone or even a little outside your comfort zone, just to see how much better you are next month. Um, so yeah, that's just my recommendation for like trying to not compare yourself to other people. Just be comfortable going on sometimes.
Yeah, totally. And I think, as, we're winding down the convo, like, what do you, I mean, I guess, like, now that you've tried out mountain biking for a little bit, like, what are your thoughts? Like, do you want to stay with it? And like, how are you staying like motivated? Like, what have you found the community to be as like someone who maybe like didn't really know this, you knew a part of the cycling community, right? Like it was gravel, and now you've gotten into mountain biking. So like, I don't know, tell me a little bit about what that looks like.
So I love and hate still. I mean, I'm still fairly new at it, and so I've taken like spring and summer to kind of get a little more comfortable and learn. And I've definitely got improved. Like it's cool to ride trails that I rode in the beginning of spring and like being obvious. But it's still really tough, I mean, especially coming from being comfortable on the gravel bike. I mean, I could lift my bike up with two fingers. And
Yeah.
the mountain bike, light, like I'm very fortunate to be able to ride, a really good mountain, but I still think it's so heavy.
Well, yeah. Oh,
I
for
hate it.
sure. That's why like my mountain bike is, I just call it like a gravel bike with like a little suspension, because like
I love your mountain bike.
it's like just like, I don't think it's just so light, but I don't have a lot. Like yours is definitely more capable for like more trails than mine's a little more racy and not quite as comfortable on like a lot of descents. So
Cool to have like seen your bike and see what the how light it is. And I mean, it's not even a matter of the lightest bike. It's like what kind of mountain bike riding do you like? And that's figuring out. I have friends that are across the spectrum, right? They love to enduro or downhill or even race. Some like cross country mountain biking, and then there's like really, really light mountain. So like and obviously that's the cool thing about mountain bikes is that they cover the range of that.
yeah,
And figuring out my style, I think I've done that this summer, and I think that I'm more of a cross country mountain bike rider. So I love the longer miles, but more up down, not scary stuff.
yeah,
And
yeah. If
aim,
downhills are
but
nuts.
that's the cool thing about mountain biking. It's like if you enter in with a certain style of bike because it's whatever you can buy or whatever you can get your hands on, fine, ride it, figure it out. If you don't like it or you like another style of mountain biking, great, there's another bike for you.
Yeah, totally. And I think like you're involved with Elevated Alpine, which is here in Colorado, right? You're still with
Those
like
are
Kristen.
my little friends. Yeah,
Yeah. And so
awesome.
like there's a ton for women's mountain biking and also skiing as well. So I guess like before we hop off, like do you want to chat like what that like group's mission is?
Yeah, so they're a lovely group of people that I'm honored to know. So they're based kind of like Denver, Boulder, so more front range, but they're a group of women, non-binary, like, BIPOC, a very like diverse group of women, if you will. And they're amazing. Want their mission to, whether you're a big expert, just kind of take down some walls or boundaries that women or non-binary may feel in the bike and ski space. Um,
Yeah.
and right now it's mainly focused on like any type of biking and skiing, and just kind of build a community where you can wherever you are and
Yeah.
what the level you're at. So they do a bunch of events that are they some of them are free, some require like a little tiny, like allow the team or the leaders of the ride to go to dinner or something. But they do a bunch of events, show up, not know, and have a great meet new people. So if you're on range or of Colorado or in this area, I really suggest checking them out. And so the elevated outline is what you can Google, but they're a great
Yeah,
group of people.
they're awesome. And I think like that's another, they're addressing a lot of like pain points for getting into cycling or even skiing for beginners where it's like, you don't have the community, or maybe you're not like you aren't seeing like representation um, of your particular community in mountain biking, because like let's be honest, cycling isn't like the most diverse sport ever. And so I think elevated alpine is really taking a lot of barriers and trying to lower the barrier to entry into enduro, into mountain biking, into skiing, by giving people opportunities to find community and build skill sets to at least like see if they want to participate in these sports, because they're fun, and the people there are really great.
And even if you don't live in Colorado, I would say like if you just contact them on their website or Instagram or what other channel you can find, they have a WhatsApp group where
Okay.
has a good amount of people on there, and it's a safe space to ask questions. So if you live in Idaho, like Virginia, and you need a safe space of women that, and like I said, just like all across the board with sports or what they're into, you just need a community to ask questions. They're a safe space. That WhatsApp group is great. People ask questions all the time. Like, can anyone recommend a road bike? Does anyone have like, I'm getting into mountain biking. I have no idea what to look for in the clothing.
Yeah.
What I mean, and it's the way people talk to each other and answer each other. I've just never seen that respectful, and like it's like someone just giving you a hug. I don't know. I
I
love
like I like it. And then I guess like before we jump off, is there anything else that you want to share about just like your story, or like being a beginner, or words of wisdom?
Well, if someone is interested or like scared, whatever, and wants to just try a new sport, doesn't have to be a sport that I'm into, and needs some like words of wisdom or just encouragement, feel free to reach out to me. Um, I really think I'll be a beginner my whole life. I'm here to become an expert at anything, or be good at one single sport or activity or hobby. So I'm definitely like the girl next door when it comes to outdoor stuff or like whatever. So feel free to reach out to me, and happy to help in any way I can.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. And hopefully we should ride together at some point. We can both fail beautifully on, yeah, Sophia is the best hype girl. Yeah, let's just go do dumb stuff on bikes.
It's the best.
Yeah. But no, thank you so much for just one being a great ambassador to the Pros Closet, and then to just like sport in general. Like I love I think just like attitude towards being a beginner and like being new at a sport, and not being afraid, or at least overcoming that fear, because I think if you get hung up too much on fear, you just end up, I don't know, not living like super full life, or it's a little boring, and I don't know, you're doing fun exciting things, so thank you.
Thank you. And if I could leave one last quote, because Kate did shout me out there, Kate McLaughlin, she's one of my friends. She actually told me something helping me get through learning how to bike, because it is really tough, like versus
Yeah.
anything I think I've ever tried. And she started biking like within the last several years. And she told me, Sophia, it's okay to hate it. It's okay to hate mountain biking. She's like, I did for a whole year. Like, give your permission to hate it. I say hate like embrace it and be like, this is okay.
Yeah.
I can love this later on, but I can really dislike the product. That's how I'm feeling. Just give yourself permission. That doesn't mean that that's a forever emotion that you're going to have. But she said, hated it for a whole year. And then she ended up enjoying mountain biking more the next year. So that's extra.
I like that. Yeah, we don't, yeah, it's hard to just like get over that. Like, I think we're so programmed to only do the things we're good at and only do the things we really love. And then we just never challenge ourselves because we like being comfortable in our
Yep.
big hoodie or
In my
your onesie.
God, this thing is
Yeah, we'll sign off with that.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for being
Halloween
the devil of some kind. You're like the friendly hype devil, I guess, maybe.
devil. Yeah, this is my Moab costume.
Very into this. Thank you so much. Come up to Fort Collins and ride some time with me. Or I'll come down and visit you. Duh.
We'll do both.
Awesome. Thanks, Sophia.
Love-
Have a good
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.